Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ayo and I'm a lifestyle blogger who encourages people to live their best life. So I have a podcast, I do YouTube sometimes, and you can find me on Instagram for daily encouragement content. Today I'm coming to you to explain an Instagram post I recently shared about how I was able to change my career and also increase my salary by 38% at the same time. So if you're interested in my story, please make sure you keep on watching. Now, the first tip I said was that I moved from the public to the private sector, and this is a really important piece of information. And just in case you didn't know, the public sector is very much dependent on government funding, and so there's sort of a limit to the growth in salary that is available in the public sector. So the process of me moving to the private sector meant that I was able to have more prospects of salary growth. Now, that's not to say that in the public sector you can't be on huge salaries. That is very much the case. You can move up grades and you can get into really big salary bands, but just moving to the private sector, means that you're able to have a huger variety of salary and more prospects of salary growth. So I think that the process of me doing that meant that I was able to basically move up a bit faster than I would have if I was in the public sector. Now, the second point I had was to reflect and to ask people around you about the possible career paths you could take and the things that you might be good or not so good at. Now, this process was key for me to find the right career path for me to move into next. The role that I was in the public sector, I wasn't happy with it. I wanted something completely different, but something that I would actually enjoy. And so the process of asking people around, asking my auntie, asking, not really my parents, but asking my friends and family, what do you think that I'll be good at? That was a process that was so key for me to find the right career path. And it was through my discussion with my auntie that I was able to find out that being a company secretary could be something that could work well for me. Now, without that discussion with my auntie, I don't know where I would be now. I would have never found out about the company secretarial career because it's not something that's very easily advertised. And so that's why I really encourage people to talk to people around them, because there's information that people know that may not necessarily be on the net or may not easily be accessible on the net. And even in terms of if you know what you want to do, maybe asking around, people can find ways that you were able to scale that up and to find a higher role within that. So, for example, you might know that you want to be a teacher, but maybe it might be moving to private schools, or maybe moving to become a head teacher, or maybe moving to become a specific type of teacher that may allow you to get a better salary. And that's not something that you may easily be able to see on the internet. It's probably through asking and networking with people that you're able to find something like that. So that's the reason why I'm a big advocate for asking people around you, figuring out your strengths and weaknesses, and finding a career path based on that. The third thing I said was that I chose a career that had great salary and growth prospects. Now, for me, this is key. There's some career paths that are quite limited in terms of how you can grow, how far you can go, and even some businesses where there's not many prospects of growth within that business. So sometimes you have to be really smart about what career path you choose or what company you decide to work at. Now, for me, I was able to find a career path that allowed me to, start as a trainee and move up into different sectors to eventually become a company secretary. So there's a trainee company secretary, you can become the assistant, deputy, there's many different roles, and that comes with different salary bands. And even looking at the salary band for a trainee, I saw this is the salary band for a trainee. When I move up, there's prospects for me to be able to get even a better salary, and depending on what company I'm at, it could be an even better salary than the average. And so I think that the career path I chose was really key for me to be able to find 38% increase, because if I had gone for a different career path that's quite limited, like say for example I went to another public sector job, it might have been a better salary, but where is the growth there? How far can I go? And a lot of times with public sector jobs as well, the bands are limited. You know exactly what you're going to get within that band. So there's not even really room for negotiation. And so I think the prospect of me going to being a company secretary meant that I was able to open myself up to a higher salary band, more growth, and more negotiation in terms of what I get. Now, the fourth thing I said was that I applied for and aimed for large companies. Now, when it comes to me and job hunting, I'm very demure. Like, I don't even like to do too much, because I think to myself, look, I'm only moving into this career path now. Don't try and do too much. But really and truly, at this point, when I was applying, I didn't have a job. So I essentially applied for everything and anything. but the large companies was where I really wanted to go, because I just thought to myself, that's where I'm going to be able to grow. That's where I'm going to have the prospect of being able to be mentored and have the right people around me and learn as much as possible. And so I was actually very lucky. Like, if I'm being completely honest about my story, I was very lucky because this was one of the first companies that I applied for. I applied for another large company before this, but I didn't hear anything back. And this was one of the first interviews I got, and I was able to get it straight away. And I'm so thankful to God, because honestly, when I even think about that interview, I get like, yeah, my stomach goes funny, because I was so nervous. I was just like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get this job, but let me try it anyway. And that's exactly what happened. So for me, a huge key factor in getting a salary increase is to aim high. Even if you want to move to a higher position, if you want to move to something within a chosen career path, you have to aim high, because that's the only way you're going to be able to see what you can possibly get. If you aim low, or if you just try and go for just one grade above because you just don't want to do too much, there's no prospect of possibly getting even further. And even when you think about going into a different career, changing companies or whatever it may be, the only way you're able to get a salary increase is if you aim for the higher salaried positions. The whole prospect of moving is that you want something better for yourself, and salary should be a huge part of that too. Not completely the whole factor, but it should be a big part of it too. So my next piece of advice is to make sure that you aim high. Don't be scared. You might as well try. The worst you can get is no, right? The next point was that I did research into the typical salary band that was offered for trainees on my level, and I asked for it. Now, this is even something that you guys can learn from me. I probably should have even asked for more, because in the end, I was offered more than what I asked for. So that was a really great moment for me, and that feels like luck, but really I know it was God. I was able to get more than I asked for. But a huge part of that is making sure you research into what is being offered there, so that you don't end up lowballing yourself. So I don't remember the exact numbers, but say for example, the typical salary band was like 28 to 32. I basically asked for 30 to 32, and then I was offered more than that. So the beauty of that is that I was able to research that and have that backing to ask for that salary. And the beauty again of being in a large company was meant that there was more prospect of getting more than that. And really and truly, as much as I looked at the typical salary band, I probably should have asked for a little bit more than that salary band. So you guys learn from me and always ask for that little bit more, because the worst they can do is say no and offer you lower. Then you know that you're okay with it. Do you know what I mean? So definitely make sure you try and aim as high as you can when it comes to salary. Don't do too much, because you don't want them to look at you like, excuse me, do you not know who you are? But at the same time, always be willing to negotiate. And the last point I had was that I paid for and invested into my professional studies, and I started them as soon as I possibly could. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I think it was a huge factor into me actually getting the job, because I was able to show my potential employers that I was serious about this career path and that I was determined to study it on my own accord. And so because of that, I think that they were really impressed by that, and they were like, this person is serious. As much as she's changing her career, she's already taken the steps to show that she really wants to do this, and she's already going to learn some skills as a part of that before she even starts at the company. So I think that's something that everyone can apply to whatever career path they want to take. If there's a certain, career path, or there's a certain industry that you want to go into, make sure you look at some skills that you can learn as a part of that. Maybe there's some online courses you can take, some free online courses. Maybe there's a book you can read. Maybe there's some essays or, some articles that you can look into. Look into what skills are required as part of your role and start taking the steps to learn them from early. And then you can have a leg to stand on when it comes to the interview. If they want to know how determined you are, if they want to know how focused you are, you can tell them, look, I've started an online course in editing. I've started an online course in social media because I'm really interested in this industry. And something like that is only going to help you. It's not going to hinder you. So I'm very much an advocate for doing your own online study, doing your own study that will show your employers that you've upskilled by yourself. It will also give you a leg to stand on in terms of your negotiation of your salary, and it will show that you can be an indispensable character to your potential team. That's my last tip. I hope you guys found this useful. If there's any of the tips that you want me to go into more detail, please make sure you let me know. I was trying to keep this video as short as possible, but if you want me to go into more detail in terms of each one of those tips, please make sure you let me know. I'll be happy to talk about it. Genuinely, I'm happy to talk about this stuff, but I'm always just so shy because I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be useful to you guys. But if you do find it useful, please let me know. Let me know in the comments. Please like the video and please subscribe if you want any more lifestyle content. I go into work, I go into study, I go into home life, I go into living your best life. So anything lifestyle, I'm your one-stop shop for it. Thank you so much for watching, and please have a blessed week.